further changing my voice, before I begin, Job, the cloud and warrior parts, this video is key. I must remind you again that the white man, the Jew, the LGBT community, all the churches, mosques, and synagogues, they practice psychology, propaganda, and theater arts. Okay, their spirit is not the spirit of God. Their militaries, their martial arts, nobody else is in the spirit of God. I am the gate. Okay, this is key to understanding this, because if you disassociate in your trance-like state like you do in church or something, like so many of you do, you're not going to understand the message here. You have to understand it with me as the point of reference, and you must try to imagine how I look without them trying to make it so I look like a gay person or something, or like a whitewashed person or token minority, what have you. You have to imagine me in my true splendor. It's similar to the sun in the sky, but with a very profound masculinity that is hard to explain. Okay, there's a Royal African Falcon, heterosexual, transcendent hero, masculinity. Okay. Job 26, again. Though the pride of the godless person reaches to the heavens, and his head touches the clouds, he will perish forever, like his own dung. Those who have seen him will say, where is he? Surely, going down to verse 20, surely he will have no respite from his craving. He cannot save himself by his treasure. Nothing is left for him to devour. His prosperity will not endure. In the midst of his plenty, distress will overtake him. The full force of misery will come upon him. When he has filled his belly, God will vent his burning anger against him and rain down his bows on him, right? So again, they're going to talk about iron weapons, bows, blows, the hand, striking them. It is the warrior spirit that is the commonality, okay? And it's the spirit of God. So what has happened here? The wicked man, is taking all the attractive women, him and his groups, they're taking the money, they're abusing people, they're eating the best food and drinking the best wine, they're rich, and they're the allies of the rich, the managerial, even poor people helping them out. They're trying to go after the material stuff, okay? And they're using psychology and mere human rules, customs, traditions, and false pride. Okay, so he's filled his belly, right? Literally, spiritually, what have you. Okay, and as a result, immediately, the way God's designed the system is that God's burning anger is against him. Like in Jeremiah, wickedness burns like a fire. So here in Job 23, it says God will vent his burning anger against him and rain down his bows on him. Though he flees from an iron weapon, a bronze-tipped arrow pierces him. He pulls it out of his back, the gleaming point out of his liver. Terrors will cover over him. Total darkness lies in wait for his treasures. A fire unfanned will consume him and devour what is left in his tent. The heavens will expose his guilt. The earth will rise up against him. A flood will carry off his house, rushing waters on the day of God's wrath. Such is the fate God such is the fate God allots the wicked, the heritage appointed for them by God. Now again, just like in the video I made about the children, they're leaving this heritage to their children. So a lot of you might think, hey, leave the children out of it. The Bible doesn't leave the children out of it. Isaiah doesn't, Jeremiah doesn't, Christ in the New Testament doesn't, the idea they superimposed on me. Okay, Job doesn't. Okay, show me which book you can logically say, leaves the children out of it. They don't. Okay, they're leaving them to be done, the heritage appointed for them and their offspring by God. So we go down to Job 22. Okay. Yet you say, what does God know? Does he judge through such darkness? Thick clouds veil him so he does not see us as he goes about in the vaulted heavens. So thick clouds veil him. The God is hidden in a sense. Okay, so people who aren't in the warrior spirit of God intensely do not detect him. That is how God made the world. And anyone who cares to try to see God, they must rally and obey God through me, and then they'll see God. And it's not going to cost you all your money or something, or your life per se, unless the government kills you. Okay? There's no reason in the world that agnostics or atheists who are quick to say God doesn't exist, or other people who claim to serve God, there's no reason in the world for them not to see what happens when they obey God through me and listen to what I'm saying, and they'll see God. They'll sense that God is watching. Okay? Unless the government is really interfering with them in their brain function. Okay? Hey, going down to Job 26. For what hope have the godless when they are cut off, when God takes away their life? Does God listen to their cry when distress comes upon them? Will they find delight in the Almighty? Will they call on God at all times? I will teach you about the power of God. The ways of the Almighty I will not conceal. You have all seen this yourselves. Why then this meaningless talk? Here is the fate God allots to the wicked. The heritage a ruthless man receives from the Almighty. However many his children, their fate is the sword. His offspring will never have enough to eat, right? Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. They'll never have justice and righteousness, true love, or any of the martial art principles intact, right? Discipline, determination, timing, okay, masculinity, romance, spirituality, mental prowess. They'll never truly have these things. They'll be like a nerd or an arrogant scientist. They'll never truly have true wisdom, true intelligence, true romance, okay, a true martial and divine martial way about this. Why martial is marital scramble. The marriage principles in their true form, universal form, are the martial art principles, right? These are life principles, right? God is love, the way, the truth, and the life. God is also truth and life and justice and righteousness. The source of these things, the core, the center. Okay? All good, all knowing, all powerful. Conscious. Okay, again, so when we see how it connects to it, it says, okay, a flood will carry off his house, rushing waters on the day of God's wrath. Such is the fate God allots the wicked, the heritage appointed for them by God, right? Their house is carried off, their family, their spirits, their nations, they're going down to the realm of the dead, carried away by their wickedness to the place where people who walk down the path of wickedness and the way of wickedness and injustice go to. And again, they're taking their kids with them. However many his children, their fate is a sword. His offspring will never have enough to eat. Now, when they suppress my videos, it doesn't save them. Okay? God send me. There's representatives from various races from all over the world here who are aware of this to some degree. Okay? The messenger came. They're from generations of wickedness. This is their last chance. Okay, after me, there's no possible way to be right with God. They must rally and obey. This is the end. This is the rapture, if you will, so to speak. Okay, this is the end. Where are we here? Okay, Job 30. Now, Job 30:11. Now that God has unstrung my bow and afflicted me, they throw off restraint in my presence. On my right, the tribe attacks. They lay snares for my feet. They build their siege ramps against me. So here's Job describing, the spirits of the wicked coming against him, and he feels like God isn't with him because God is testing him, because early in Job, in the book of Job, the first 4 or 5 chapters or so, Satan kind of says, let's test this guy, skin for skin, right? He says he's only loyal to you because you've blessed him, so let's take away those blessings. Okay, and as you can see, I'm loyal to God regardless, and one of the messages of Job is, Job isn't emphasized as a martial artist as such, and the word Job is a play on words for job. Okay, J-O-B, Obi meaning King, Heart, Hut, Essence, Center, Core, and there's all kinds of craftsman nonsense trying to confuse the wordplay and so on and so forth. That's probably what the J refers to, right? You can look at it as a blue jay, a mocking jay. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to look at it, but that's a story for another day. That wordplay there is interesting, and I didn't do it all the way because it's unnecessary to do the wordplay all the way. The idea is already there in life, and it's there in the story, and so on and so forth. Okay. So again, a martial artist is better for the job than the craftsman, and you can tell that by the complaints, and that's why the Bible says the Lord is the word, the Lord is his name. That's why there's so much talk of a warrior in the book of Job, and that's part of why this book is so key, right? The cloud that Jesus comes back on, there's tons of talk. There's a lot of talk about clouds, and there's a lot of talk about warriors, and giving the wicked the just recompense for their iniquity, their just comeuppance. Okay. So he says, on my right side, the tribe attacks. They lay snares for my feet. They build their siege ramps against me. Notice he says the tribe. Well, some people say, hey, I'm just a part of this tribe. I'm just, someone says that they're just a female and they're at home, or their kids playing at home. No, notice he says their whole tribe. Okay? For what group you're a part of, you will absolutely be held accountable for the formula of your formation, if you will. Collective guilt in the truest form. They break up my road, they succeed and destroy me, no one can help him, they say. They advance as though a gaping breach. Amid the ruins they come rolling in. Terrors overwhelm me, my dignity is driven away as by the wind, my safety vanishes like a cloud. Again, this is a subtle reference to the cloud. This is what the cloud in Revelation is referencing. This is what Jesus said. He's coming back on a cloud, okay? When he's done and the cloud vanishes, right? then this is hell, right? It's a transformation, right? The seven seals, right? The Babylon led the world astray by her magic spell. They're transforming, a trance-like state. They're transforming, right? Formula, formation. Form is morph, scrambled, M-O-R-F instead of M-O-R-P-H, but the sounds, phonetics, Phoenicians, morph, Phoenician Canaanite system, okay? All right. So it says, terrors overwhelm me. My dignity is driven away as by the wind. My safety vanishes like a cloud. So Jesus comes on a cloud of righteousness. When righteousness is done, and the sun goes up, so to speak, the sun appears up, for the sun no longer appears, so to speak, for the inhabitants of the earth. And now my life ebbs away. Days of suffering grip me. Night pierces my bones. My gnawing pains never rest. In his great power, God comes like clothing to me. He binds me like the neck of my garment. Again, righteous acts. Fine linen stand for the righteous acts of the saints. In Isaiah, I want to say 59, says he wraps himself in zeal as in a cloak, whose hands have gathered up the wind. We'll get to that shortly, right? Proverbs 34 is key in connecting that to Job 30, right? Job 30 and Proverbs 30, pro, veer, BS, okay? Job 30, Proverbs 30. Okay, we'll get to that. He throws me into the mud, and I am reduced to dust and ashes. I cry out to you, God, but you do not answer. I stand up, but you merely look at me. You turn on me ruthlessly with the might of your hand. You attack me. You snatch me up and drive me before the wind. You toss me about in the storm. I know you will bring me down to death, the place anointed for all the living. Okay, so it says, you turn on me ruthlessly with the might of your hand. You attack me with the might of your hand. You attack me. Write down Proverbs 30, 21, and 22. Okay, with the might of your hand, you attack me. You snatch me up and drive me before the wind. You toss me about in the storm. See how this is a martial art reference, right? Now you see in Proverbs 34, it says, whose hands have gathered up the wind? Or who holds the wind in his fists? Okay? And of course, they talk about wrapping up the waters as in a cloak. And that cloak is zeal, as we see in Isaiah 59. So with zeal and righteousness and justice, who is giving off martial art blows and the essence of those martial art blows? Okay, so I urge you all to watch it many times, okay? You see in Jeremiah 22:22, the wind will drive all your shepherds away, and your allies will go into exile. Then you will be ashamed and disgraced because of all your wickedness, right? So it's a recurring theme, right? The wind, okay, the storms, right? They're driving the wicked away, right? Look, he advances like the clouds. His chariots come like a whirlwind. His horses are swifter than eagles. Woe to us, we are ruined. We see how the wind and the ocean interacts, and how it marshals the grains of sand. We see how hills and mountains are formed. They're using these things as an example, among other things, as to how God operates, right? God is saying this is the plan. That's how the righteous know how to move, is partially because of the patterns of nature, partially because of experimenting with justice, if you will, in terms of living justice, not in terms of, no one has God's permission to be wicked to experiment, right? In terms of moving in the martial arts spirit of justice and righteousness, which come from God, which cannot be done after I'm gone. Job 34. Okay, again, when I say after I'm gone, obviously, my spirit will not be among man after I'm gone. It will be trampling man. I know a lot of you don't want to hear this, but that's the fact of the matter. Okay, no one can be right with God after my body dies. I'll be with God forever in spirit, and my soul with God. Okay, at God's right hand, forever part of his warrior spirit attacking. This is how I define myself, the parables of the 10 minas, and so on and so forth. Let's get to Job 34, and we'll do 35, 36, and 37 in part 2. Okay, Job 34, his eyes are on the ways of mortals. He examines their every step. There is no deep shadow, no utter darkness where evildoers can hide. God has no need to examine people further. They should come before him for judgment. Without inquiry, he shatters the mighty and sets up others in their place. Because he takes note of their deeds, he overthrows them in the night, and they are crushed. He punishes them for their wickedness, where everyone can see them. Because they turned from following him and had no regard for any of his ways. They caused the cry of the poor to come before him, so that he heard the cry of the need. This includes, gold diggers dating rich people and so on and so forth. And of course, the mighty, mighty in its true form is someone who obeys God. But they also use it to talk about, rich people and the people in the military and, military leaders and all kinds of this stuff, Anyway, I'm out of time.